Hi everybody, I'm going to be showing you my favorite cookware collection, my bakeware and my aprons. And I'm also going to show you why some are my favorite and why some are not. Now, I'm not being sponsored by any of the brands that I'm going to be showing today. I'm simply going to show them to you because it's been highly requested. So let's get started. So these are some of my favorite stainless steel pots and pans. Now this one right here that I'm holding up is really one of my very favorites. I think it's because it's a little light and it's easy to use, and it's got a glass lid and I can look in and I can see what's happening in there. Now this one doesn't say what size it is, like how many quarts. This just says kitchen living. But if you saw my last video where I made calabacitas con queso, this is the one that I use. So I really love this one, and I think this is one of my best investments because I've had it for years and it's lasted this long, and I take it with me back and forth to Texas. I really love it. Now this one right here is a Cuisinart, and this is a 5.5 quart. This one I use when I make beef stew or just any kind of soup. It's really so easy for any type of soup or stew. Now this one right here, if you've seen my videos, you know that I use this one a lot. This one I use when I'm going to boil tomatoes or tomatillos, or when I have a lot of tomatoes or a lot of tomatillos, I'll use this one. Or if I'm going to boil potatoes for mashed potatoes or whatever. Now I've had this for years, and this is a copper bottom. It's a Revere ware, and it's 4.5 quarts, and I absolutely love it. It's light and super faithful. Now this one right here is its baby, and this is a little saucepan. Looks exactly the same. I use this a lot when I'm going to boil a couple of serrano peppers and 2 or 3 tomatoes to make a salsa. I use it as a small saucepan for just about anything. Now this one right here, this is one of my true favorites. This I have had for years. This is a KitchenAid. I use this whenever I make rice, whether it's my Mexican rice, my cilantro lime rice, or my arroz blanco mexicano. I'm gonna use this one. I can look inside and see how the rice is looking as it's cooking. I use it for other things, but I mostly use it when I make rice. So I really love this one. Now this one right here, this is an all-clad. This is forever. I also use this when I'm going to make a salsa or warm up some leftover soup or boil some water or just whatever. I think that I'm going to start collecting a few more of these because these are solid and so perfect. Now here is another all-clad little frying pan, and this is the one I use every day when I fry eggs, and nothing sticks to it. Now if you get these nice and hot and you put in your oil and you let your oil get hot or to the temperature you want it to be, if you break eggs in here, I mean, they just slide. Now I do want to keep them shiny, and I don't want to get them really rough or scratched up. So I just sprinkle some of the Barkeeper's Friend, and then I just use a small towel and I just, go in a circular motion, and I'm able to remove everything from the bottom. And then I just rinse them really well. And then I dry them really well, and then I just put them away. Stainless steel is something that I absolutely love. This is something that is going to last you forever. And I think that all of these pieces that I have here have been one of the best investments I've ever made. So now let's go to the next one. So this is my cast iron collection. Now, cast iron has been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, most of these have been a gift from my Ron. He knows I love cast iron. Even though I don't use it every day, I just can't part with them because every now and then I'll have use for one or another. And they are just so perfect for just about anything that you make. Now, right here, I have my chicken fryers. Now, this is a number 8. This is a Wagner right here. And here's another chicken fryer. Now you can take these out when you're camping. You can put this on the grill. You can put this on your stovetop. Now this is the biggest one that I have. You see? And this is a Wagner ware, and it's a number 9. I use this a lot when I used to fry chicken, but now I use the electric one more. Now, it's always there, and I try and keep it in very good shape because you never know when I'm going to want to use it again. And this lid fits all of them really well. Now, it's a little bit bigger than this one, but it still, you know, sits on it really nice. Now, these are some of my skillets, and these are Wagnerware. I really love these because they are so smooth and they're very well seasoned. You know, I make sure that every time I use it, you know, I wipe it down and clean it very well. And some of these are a lot older than others. This is a Griswold, a number 8. Now, this one right here is my favorite of all. And I call it Slick Willy. As you can see, it's like super shiny from the inside. I could literally fry an egg in here and go like this and it just slides off. It is so well seasoned. All of these right here have been used a lot. I keep these in between. I just cut a piece out and I put them right there in between. And I stack them up this way. Now these right here are a little bit smaller. These are like number 7s or number 8s. And these are also very well seasoned. And I would say that if you want to start with a cast iron one and you've never owned one, I would recommend that you start like with a 7 or an 8 because it's just the perfect size. And it's something that's going to last you forever. Now these are smaller ones. I've used these for frying eggs or just anything that you want to use them for. See, this one right here I use when I make cornbread. It's so easy to use. You know, you just put in your batter and they come out already cut out perfectly for you. This is what I set them on when they're really hot, because when they get hot, they get really hot. And these are the holders that I use. Now this is silicone. You know, you just slide them in like this, or you can use these old ones that I've had forever, you know, to hold them and get them out of the oven. Now, these are the workhorses in the kitchen because these you can use to make cornbread, you can fry eggs, you can fry chicken, you can use it out when you're camping, you can use them on your grill. You can go from the stovetop to the oven, right here to your counter. These will be passed on to my daughter, from my daughter to my granddaughter, and so on. And they'll probably still look this pretty. They're super easy to maintain once you get them really seasoned. I think next time I do a video, I'll show you how I clean them up really well because it's super easy. So these are my cast iron skillets. Now let me show you my other favorites. This is my copper set right here. Now I don't use any of these anymore. They're mostly here just for looks. Now this one I used when I made carnitas. I do have a video on carnitas and I used this one and it is just so perfect for that. You know, having to maintain them and keep them clean a lot, sometimes it's better to just not go there. And when I do clean them, I use the barkeeper's friend. I can clean all of these in less than 30 minutes when they are tarnished really bad. It only takes me 30 minutes to clean them. That's why I love that barkeeper's friend. So these are my copper pieces right here that I only hang up just for display. And I wanted to show you these two. So now let's go to the other ones. So we're out here in the mudroom because this rack is a little bit too big. And even though it's got little wheels and I can take it inside or move it around, it's too big to have inside. So this is where I keep my casserole dishes and my Dutch ovens. And whenever I need one, I just come out here and get it. Now, a lot of these have been gifts from Iran. Now, if you look at my video where I'm making cinnamon rolls, you'll see that this is where I make the dough. And it just works perfectly fine. So I've got 4 pieces right here. Now up here, I have my orange brazier. This is the one I used when I made my pork chops. I think you remember this one. And I've made a lot of other dishes with this one too. This brand Le Creuset is one that, you know, that will last you forever because they're all cast iron and they're all enameled from the inside. And if you take real good care of them and clean them up really well, they'll last you a lifetime. And you don't have to season these at all. Now, to show you some of the ones that are not my favorite are, for example, this one right here. I bought these because I thought that I could use it like for individual fajitas or something like this. And it's a lot of work to use 2 of them, so I don't use these much. If I could go back in time, I would not buy these again. Now up here, I have the ones that I use when I make like paella, baked fish in the oven. And I have these in different sizes. If I went back in time, I don't think I would buy these. I don't use them as much as I thought that I would. Now, this is not a Le Creuset, but when I bought it, I got it because I love the color. This is a Cook's Tools. But you know what? I have used it just like I have used these Le Creusets, and it works exactly the same. Now, I would say that the only difference is that the Le Creusets are made so well and they're so smooth. If you're thinking about buying one of these enameled cast iron Dutch ovens, you could start out with a good one for a soup, and then slowly you can get yourself another piece and maybe get you a saucepan. And it is a good investment. It's not something that you're going to get rid of in a couple of years because it gets bent or it gets cracked or anything. These are going to last you forever. So if you look at it like it's an expensive piece, it is, but it is forever. And then these right here are the ones I use for side dishes like glazed carrots, or if I made mashed potatoes, or, you know, green beans or anything like that. I use these right here. Here I've got my Le Creuset griddle. You've seen this before. And that's the one I use when I make my tortillas. I also have this one that's a double size. It's a little bit bigger. I'm able to make double the amount of tortillas. And these casserole dishes down here, some of these I have gotten at TJ Maxx. I've gotten some at Marshall's. Maybe one I've gotten at Walmart. And then others I have spent a little bit more on them. But regardless, you know, I think all of them are really good. This is where I made my enchilada casserole. This one right here says Home Essentials and Beyond. I don't remember where I bought this, but it was not an expensive piece, but it is one of my favorite. And this is where I made my enchilada casserole. So these are my Dutch ovens and my casserole dishes. I'm glad you got to see them. So now let me show you my aprons. Now, before we get to our favorite part, the aprons, I wanted to show you these. Now, these are cake coolers. I've had a lot of questions as to what these are or where did I get them. Some I've gotten at Bed Bath & Beyond. Some I've gotten at Walmart. I've gotten some at Kohl's. A couple of them I have ordered on Amazon. Now, this is one of my favorites because it fits right on top of the burner. And this is the one I use when I roast my poblano peppers. But I use any of these, you see? Now, I also wanted to show you my wooden spoons. Now, some of these are really old and beat up, but there was a time when I just thought that I just couldn't go a day without them. But I don't use them anymore. And every now and then I'll come and pull one out if I feel that I need it, you know, but these spoons have gone through a lot. They were really used at one time. Now they have cracks and all, but I have a hard time parting with them because they were my favorite at one time. And when I really love something, I just have a real hard time getting rid of them. Now, these wooden spoons right here are the ones that I use like today and yesterday and all that. These two right here are my absolute favorite. And if I knew where I had gotten these, I would go back and get a big box so they can last me the rest of my life, because I don't remember where I got them. Why is it that I use two when I'm cooking, that I always use two spoons? And I think it's because in my mind, I visualize the pot right here in front of me. And I feel like I'm going in there with my hands and I'm doing what I want the food to do. So when I use two of them, I feel like I'm doing it. Like I'm in total control of what I'm doing. And I have a real hard time using just one of any of these. I need to use two. These are silicone and I love these right here. Now these are stainless steel and I'll use them when, you know, I'm using my cast iron or making soup or whatever. And if I need one of these are the ones that I use. These I keep right by my stove. If I'm gonna get my tomatoes out after I boil them, or my tomatillos or whatever, I'll use these. Now these are my Big Sunny tongs. I got these through Amazon and these are so good. I love these, and these were like, I don't know, $12, $14 or something like that. I'll put a link below. But these are perfect. These are stainless steel and these will also last you forever. And then these are silicone, all of these right here. So anyway, these are my wooden spoons and these are my cooling racks for cakes, pies, desserts, fried shrimp, fish, and also to roast poblano peppers. And these are my everyday silicone and stainless steel. So now we can go to our favorite part that we've been looking forward to, and that is my aprons. So here are my aprons. Now, I keep them hanging like this on this rack. You see, I can wheel this around. Now, when I wear one of these aprons, I wash it, I hang it up to dry, and then I give it a light press, and then I hang them up. And they're always easy and ready for me to just pick one out. Now, I have made just about every single apron here, but there are some in here that I haven't. These three right here are plastic, and I use them, you know, when I'm gonna be canning tomatoes or cooking something that's gonna splatter and wet or whatever. That's when I use these three that are plastic. You might recognize some of these. See? When I bake, I make cupcakes or desserts, I usually use that one. And they go on and on and on. And then over here at the very end, I've got some of my half aprons. These are shorter ones. I've got a denim one here, a Christmas one here, this one right here. Now I do take the ones that have my logo on them, but usually I just leave all the rest here because I've got a bigger selection over there. Now the reason I have so many aprons is because I think this is why. When I was a little girl growing up, my dad's mom, my grandma, she wore an apron 365 days out of the year. I don't think I ever saw her without an apron. Now, there was something about it, and I guess it's because seeing her with an apron, you could see that she was a homemaker, and she was always in the kitchen cooking or baking something, and it was already in my heart, something that I already loved. And I wanted to wear an apron, and I remember I would get a towel and put it around me like this because I wanted to have an apron, and nobody ever bought me one or nobody made me one. So I would put a towel and tie it around my waist, and I had an apron too. So as I got a little older, when I was, you know, like maybe in my late teens and I liked to bake, then I had an apron. So I had a love for aprons, and I have collected aprons my whole life that I can remember. So every now and then I'll go somewhere when I'm out shopping, or I go to Walmart or TJ Maxx or anywhere. And if I see an apron that I really like, I'll buy it. I don't have a problem with that. But a lot of times I'll see one that I really like, and then I say, oh my gosh, I could make that. So I'll go to a fabric store, Walmart or anywhere, and I get me a yard of material, and I come home and I make one. Now, I am not a professional seamstress. I'm not even a good seamstress. And I can't really sew anything other than aprons and curtains. For some weird reasons, I can make curtains, you know, the balloon kind and all of those type. I have patience for curtains. I have patience for aprons. But I couldn't make a blouse or a simple skirt or anything like that because I don't know how to sew. I don't have a pattern or anything like that. I literally just get one of the aprons that I have, and then I just lay it down over the material, and I just trace over it, leaving about an inch on the sides. And then I just pin it and cut it very carefully, and that's my apron. So I know for sure that none of these aprons are the same size. You know, they're a little off. One is a little longer than the other, and so on and so forth. And there is one apron that I wear, I want to say almost 365 days out of the year, because the first thing I do when I walk into the kitchen every morning is I get my apron and I put it on, and I wear it all day. If I'm at home all day, I've got it on all day, unless I'm working outside. But if I'm inside the house, I am wearing an apron. And the apron is back there hanging up, but my Ron didn't want for me to show it. And I said, Ron, do you think that I should show this apron so that they can see the apron that I wear every day? I've got all of these, but that's the one that I wear. And he said, oh, I don't think you should show it. I said, why? I want him to see, you know, the one that I really wear. Well, it's got a hole up here in the front where my belly rubs on the counter, and I have patched it up, and then I got a hole on top of that patch, and now the patch is ripped up, and it's not a pretty apron at all, but it's so soft, and it fits just right, and it's warm when I'm cold, and it's very comfortable. And he said, no, 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 don't show it. So maybe one of these days I'll show it. So anyway, that's the story of my aprons. Now, one of these days I'm going to have a video on how to clean, season, and maintain a cast iron skillet. And I'll also do the same thing with how to clean your Dutch ovens and how to keep them real nice and white from the inside. I'll show you how it is that I clean my copper and how I clean my stainless steel and keep it real nice and shiny. I wasn't able to show you that today because it was a lot to show. I hope I answered all your questions if you had one. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, and send me a comment. Thank you.